you. I'm going to try sharing. Hopefully that's all going to go smoothly. So just bear with me a second while I get the slides ready to go. And somebody could give me a kind of a nudge to say all is looking okay. That would be great.
All looks fine, thanks.
Wonderful, great. So I'm going to get started and then I'm going to hand over to Svetlana. So we've deliberately tried to keep our presentation element really short today to allow for conversation and discussion. So yeah, Michael or Lydia, I might say to you, if you think we're going beyond 20 minutes, you might just give us a nudge in some way. That would be great. Okay, so let's get started. My motivation for and to include an Oracy-based assessment in a core law module very much started with my role as widening participation convener for law. So as you can imagine, in this role, I was asked to, deliver outreach programs, engage with a range of students at pre-university level. And it always seemed really important to me that this wasn't so much about the content, but it was about an opportunity to help students develop confidence and their skill set and help them feel empowered. So every session that I designed in that capacity, I thought, well, how can I do this? And voice work or Oracy-based kind of skills became key to that. And they seemed to work really well, and it was very, very well received. And then I began to think, well, how can I extend this type of approach and these kind of exercises into the curriculum more widely? Subsequently, I took on first year kind of tutor role. And so I was involved and kind of helping organize induction for a couple of years. And so by way of kind of extending what I had been doing in WP, I thought, well, I'll try to do something in the induction program or during Welcome Week. So I designed this program, as you can see on the slides, My Voice at Sussex. So it was an induction program. And a couple of things about that. I felt that it was really important to have good staff-student ratio for the delivery of that program. So I asked some of our final year students and other students to get involved in helping to facilitate that, and other colleagues. So we ended up with like a really good staff-student ratio of maybe like 1 to 3, 4. And that really helped the kind of the rolling out of the program, as it were. Connected to that, and I'm sure some of you will have heard me talking about this before, but I'm quite interested in the role of extracurricular activities in our law schools. And it seems to me that we all really value the work and the role of extracurricular activities. So mooting, client interviewing, advocacy, and so on. But if you're like Sussex Law School, we don't have the capacity to roll these out for every student. So actually only a small number of students can take part in these activities. And so I was starting to question, well, who is taking part and who is not, or who is not able to take part? And that question of, who is not in the room and why not, was something I kept returning to. And I thought, well, how could we embed more of the types of activities that we do in our extracurricular, mooting, client interviewing, and so on? How could we embed that into the curriculum so that every student gets the chance to develop these key skills? So I was keen to, as I said, give every student the opportunity to develop some voice work skills. So what did I do? Well, I turned to my module, the module that I convene, which is an English legal system. It's a core year 1 module with about over 400 students. And so when I inherited this module, it was write a case note essay, which of course is perfectly reasonable for the module. But I decided, as I said, to try to build in some voice work element. And so with the number of iterations, and apologies for those who have already heard me talking about this in a kind of authentic assessment or space, but in broad terms, what the students are asked to do is prepare a case briefing. So they're told, you are the trainee solicitor and your supervising solicitor asks you to research a case and prepare a 10-minute case briefing for the client and partners of the firm. And the students are told to record this because they need to add it to the client's file and so on. And in addition to the presentation part, they have to then do this kind of debrief element, which is an evaluative judgment exercise. And so it seems to be working well. But of course, anytime you introduce a kind of new, what we might call a new assessment, really important to think about backward design. So taking the assessment and then working backwards to see, well, is the module set up to support the students to excel in this assessment? Is it constructively aligned? So I had to spend quite a lot of time thinking about the seminars and how to make the seminars really effective for the students. Alongside that, prepared a bespoke rubric, and as you can see, presentation skills and so on are really front and center of that. So a couple of brief reflections then from me about this assessment and the kind of Oracy-based elements. So as I said, really important, I mean, of course, that when you're thinking about Oracy-based assessment, that is it supported? Yeah, is there support and scaffolding built in? And as I was preparing this presentation, I was thinking, you know, does ELS or those type of modules, are they more favorable to embedding Oracy-based assessment? Do we feel that there's maybe a little bit more room in those modules? I mean, of course, a lot of our modules, there's a lot of content to get through, and I think we can be quite wedded to content in law schools. So it can feel kind of overwhelming to bring in an Oracy-based assessment where you also have to really support these skills. So something to think about. Again, just to reiterate, this was pre-recorded, so the students were asked to pre-record and upload. It wasn't live. Maybe that helps with issues around anxiety and so on. But on the flip side, maybe it creates anxiety as well, or, you know, enhances or makes that worse for students in the sense that they're trying to perfect a pre-recorded output. So that's something to think about. In the broader context of generative AI, I am thinking about whether live would be better, would it be appropriate, or would it not? So I'm working through that. On reasonable adjustment, so I'm sure many of you will be interested to know or ask more about this. I have to say on reflection that there's only been 2 very specific requests for an alternative assessment. So that's interesting to me. I would say that the students value the opportunity to develop these skills and they speak about it, though I would say they often do underestimate the preparation required for this assessment. And that comes through in the evaluative judgment part that I mentioned. You know, they might say, oh, I didn't think it would be as difficult, or, you know, I didn't prepare enough, or those kind of things. I will absolutely have to highlight that the technology in place on our VLE system for the students to upload the pre-recorded video is not great, and it's clunky and it's not intuitive, and it causes me a lot of stress every year, but I really believe in the assessment. So I've persevered and continue to try to have conversations with our learning technologists about how to improve, you know, that element of the assessment. So a couple of reflections from students and also from a marker, which I think might be of interest to you. So one of our students has said that, you know, very much this point about soft skills that not really developed at university level, and that this assessment gives students the opportunity to develop that confidence point that's key. Another student talks about this assessment being a safe space to practice, which I think was really, really nice, because ultimately that's what it should be doing, right? So it's very much designed as an assessment for learning. So I want this assessment not to be scary, but for empowerment. The idea is to hopefully help students to feel more empowered. And finally, before I hand over to Svetlana, this was a reflection from one of the markers on the team this year, which I thought was really nice. And they talked about feeling more connected, so that the reflections and seeing the student whilst they're marking helps to create better connection. Okay, so over to you, Svetlana. I'll click on.
Thank you so much. And I would like to start, first of all, from my gratitude to be a part of this connection in legal education. during all sessions which I attend, I have learned a lot, and it's my pleasure to be here today as a speaker, especially in present with Verona. So let me say a couple of words, briefly introduce myself, because I think it's important for my next contact. So my expertise lies at the crossbar of a teacher. I have a master's degree in pedagogy, researcher, PhD in law, and coach in public speaking and communication. So this allowed me to have special approach to education, and I'm really passionate about public speaking skills and soft skills in legal education. And currently I am a principal investigator of the project To Be and Not to Be Elopement during trial, how lawyers' public speaking skills affect decision making. So we try to present to students also, and not just for students, it's a lot of different aim in this project to understand how public speaking skills affect decision making. So it's not just about legal field, it's about our life. And I like being a researcher, but my true passion is, of course, teaching. And you know, I'm always so excited to step in a classroom and let students know how they can enhance their confidence and their career in the future, their life, if they have these public speaking skills. So usually when I start the workshop, and now you have this figure on the screen, I always ask students the question, what do you think is harder, written a legal argument or delivering it out loud? So usually students always choose written, that it's written a legal argument, it's more easy, and they don't want to speak in general. And when they see this result on the big screen, it's totally anonymous survey, so they realize the scale of the issue we face. And 2023 was declared by the European Union as the Year of Skills. So artificial intelligence came, and all these global digitalization issues, and at the university and especially at the Department of Law, the question arises how we will manage all this situation. And the main problem was that in general we have a lot of written assessment. So for students it's so typical to write, and they are really doing great in writing legal arguments and writing their essay, but Department of Law and our colleagues started to switch their assessment from written to oral. And of course, it's arise a lot of questions about it. So 2023, when the year of soft skills was declared, I started my position at the University of Göteborg, and we started to research the field, what is situation now with students, how they, what is the prevalence of oral speaking assignments among students, and what common worries they have. And on the next slide, you can see the question. Please, Verona, can we move to the next slide? It's one of the slides from our survey. So we realized that students have a lot of anxieties about speaking in front of audience, and however, they realize that legal labor market changed a lot, and that we need to and they need to provide more soft skills when they step in their future career. So in parallel with this survey, which we conduct among advanced level students, I organized some kind of volunteer course for advanced level students called Public Speaking and Legal Argumentation Skills for the Future Lawyer. And you know, this course and especially students' feedback gave us the vision how students' attitude to the public speaking skills and legal argumentation, and especially about standing in front of audience and talking, that they mentioned that earlier we thought that we should born with public speaking skills, and it's some kind of magic when people talk well. However, when we equip with different kind of oratorical devices, it helps us to become more confident. And after that, we started to adapt mini courses to different courses at the Department of Law. Especially, we focus on the courses where the assessment was oral. So in this way, for example, students should provide their essay, thesis, or oral pleading like final assessment. So I have created a special mini course which includes 12 hours in the class. So in general, students have 6 workshops. And please, can we move to next slide? I try to help students to have some kind of journey, because usually they are aware that during this course I will have special module in public speaking, but it's not so easy to step in it because of a lot of anxieties. And I try to build this session to help them to be more confident during their final assessment. So I have built this mini course like some kind of journey where I use my public speaking skills as a coach and my knowledge in law, and I combine it with pedagogical techniques to help students to understand that we shouldn't be born with talent to speak in front of audience. We can just enhance our skill and develop them. So during all workshop, I use a lot of activities for students. And first, our step, of course, is a social climate. We interact a lot with students, we talk a lot, and they start during some kind of reflection or feedback, realize that they create their own steps in their life and enhance, and it's possible to enhance their public speaking skills. And also during this mini course, I included a lot of small tasks for students. So we have a lot of different cases, and we focus on legal argumentation. They understand in general how they can in final create a legal argumentation, how they can operate with different facts, how can they present these facts. And I completely sure that this journey helps them in the way to have autonomous motivation to develop their soft skills. Because I'm sure, and we talk a lot with Verona about it, that public speaking skills, it's not just about to speak in front audience or to build legal career. It's more about be confident in daily life also, and it's important part of social capital, which we like teachers, like researchers can help students to create. Thank you so much. And yes, Verona, please.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess just building on that point, and was mentioned already, and some of you, apologies, may have seen a version of this slide already at the ALT conference, but I guess it is this point about, you know, what role for Oracy-based assessments in a world of and with generative AI. And I guess just to make the point again that as Svetlana identified, it doesn't have to be this idea of the presentation, which can seem really terrifying to many students, but I think we need to just be more creative in thinking, you know, or there can be many different iterations, I guess, of an Oracy-based assessment. And we just give some examples of what they might be on this slide. So that's pretty much it from us. And we, you know, as we said, we deliberately wanted to keep things short to allow for conversation and discussion. We are really interested to hear your thoughts. If you've got concerns or have had concerns about Oracy-based work or assessments, you know, what are they and how might we overcome some of those? So we're going to wrap up and open up for Q&A, but before we do so, we just wanted to also give a big plug to Ishan's work. Ishan obviously is a big fan and friend of CLE. Ishan has produced this wonderful selection of videos to help enhance presentation skills. So brilliant resource. I'm definitely going to go back over them, but also I'm going to very much use them in my ELS module this coming year. So that's it from us, and I'll stop sharing and open up for Q&A.